Remix. 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 Remix.
Oops. Oh, yeah. Here we go. Yo, this is Black Power Media, leading you, feeding you information. This ain't your regular station, a channel. Them other cats can't hold a candle to this. They miss, they need to go. This is the Remix Morning Show. I go by the name of the Ear Doctor. Yes, it is time once again to get this party started. Now, I got a crew that's about to come through. Let me bring them to you. First, let's talk about Jackie Lukeman. And we can't do it without Kim Brown. And Dr. Jared Ball. And happy birthday to the belated Jay Dilla on his 50th.
Yo,
Yes.
yo, happy Dilla Day. Happy Dilla Day.
Dilla Day.
Yo,
Let's get
happy Ear Doctor spitting a hot freestyle for y'all on a Thursday. I was like, you better spit that shit, knocker. Come on.
Listen, if the beat is right, I'm coming with it. Let's go.
Woo!
How y'all doing?
I don't know.
Jackie Mike on mute. I love it.
Whoa. Everybody
Told you,
scooted
man.
in here at the last second.
Yep.
Remixes.
Wow. It was like
Had to give
Scooby Doo when they be running.
Hey.
Oh man.
And I got no excuse because I was literally sitting here and just lost track of time doing something else. So
nice.
I was right here. I was like, oh, wait.
Oh my goodness.
I have to do something at 8. What is that?
Huh.
7:59. Feels
Hey,
like
look,
I should be
just woke up at
somewhere.
7:30. I don't.
Oh man. I was perusing the internet.
Ooh, fancy word there, Ear Doctor.
Ooh.
Oh,
Go look it up.
I will.
No problem. And I was seeing, yo, is Shannon Sharp's couch like the messy couch? Like everybody goes there to spill beans. I just see Monique there now. I'm just like, yo, what is it about this couch? Everybody just go
What
there.
it is? It's the drinking. And for some reason, people on the internet want to see people sit around, get drunk, and talk shit. Riddle me that. Riddle me that.
Yeah, that's a formula that doesn't seem to miss on social media.
We should start that over here on BPM. What y'all think? We should do a drunk show.
I've been saying in fact, I have a playlist saved because I've been saying I wanted to do a Drink Champ special. And one of the episodes I've been saving, I still never watched it. This is way late now. Was when Lear Cohen went to Drink Champs. I was going to do a live drinking show, watching that, and see if we could make it through. Like every lie he told, every career he ruined, we got to take a shot. We'd probably be out by 30, 40 minutes tops. Yeah.
Right.
But I'm in full agreement. When I watch it, I think it's great. And see what truths come out in Vino Veritas, right?
Yeah, I just don't know with Monique, man. You never know what's the truth, what's not. It's
Oh well, come on. First of all comedians lie. Let's be clear. Like even Cat Williams, I could tell which lies was lies. Like I knew he was like when he was like, yeah, we was in the Illuminati meeting with Ludacris. One of them gotta shave your sideburn. I'm like, nigga, I mean, I could tell he was telling a story, right? But
I thought it was the
3,000 books.
Right, graduated college at what? How old did he say he was?
And then he said, but the other one, more than anything, was he said he ran a sub 4.3 or 4.2 40. And I was like, that's a lie. That's a goddamn lie. You know why I know? Do you know why I know that's a lie? I know why that's a lie. Because even in a generation where we didn't have all the technology, anybody that could run that fast did it in front of somebody on a clock. I just don't believe it. I ran a 4.840 at the local Howard High School track after delivering pizzas for 12 hours and had somebody there timing it. in 1993. So I know if I ran sub 4.3, that's world class. You breaking records. You
Wow.
That dude mad short though. You know his legs is. You see him at the end of Atlanta when he ran them.
Somebody would have had
as
it.
fuck.
That's anybody on tape could be fast. All you got to do is we watch YouTube videos at two times speed. Stop it.
Oh man,
stop it. And then when he kept mentioning to Shannon Sharp, he kept talking about, Shannon, you wouldn't let somebody on steroids come in here and take on. And I was like, please, Shannon, everybody in the NFL's on steroids.
Come on.
Shannon now lying too. Like he was going to stand like Shannon's all natural. Like right now he's on human growth hormone. There's no 50-year-old built like that without medication. Get the hell out of here.
Their sweatsuit tight as a.
Hey, I think Shannon looks nice in a suit. I think
sure. I'm only saying when Kat is talking about, well, come on, Shannon, you wouldn't let nobody on roids come in your locker room and take credit for what you done did. You'd be like, of course I would, because I'm on them right now, Cat Williams. I'm barely holding on from smashing a bottle right now.
Oh,
so what kind of lies was Monique telling, Ear Doctor? I haven't watched it yet.
I didn't even get to watch it all the way because it was too much. But I just,
wait, hold on. The Monique interview was too much after Cat Williams.
Listen, I got other things to do.
Oh,
I thought she already told everything though.
I'm about as busy as Kamal. Okay, Franklin.
Oh, wow.
Franklin. Yeah.
It's a full house. Oh my God. I love it.
Yeah, the microphone's over there too.
Oh.
The full house with the mic, exactly.
Is it Thursdays?
Kamal sees his microphone. He's just like, I just need to see a microphone in a room, and that counts.
They said it has a wraparound range.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. I thought it was.
Did y'all see the arm reach? Did you see how far he had to reach to grab that microphone and bring it to his face? He got his own chair. What's going on?
You know why Jackie laughing so hard? She just did the same thing.
I sure did, but I see my microphone is always over here, and I always forget that it's right there.
We know.
Yeah.
Hey, I got a new ism, y'all.
Oh no!
What the fuck? I swear, yo. First of all, let me get Infinite Content in here. Pick up Infinite Content. Stay sending in some loot. Y'all need to take notice of this.
No, you're not paying
Dr. Ball. Tyson and Herschel Walker are cock diesel in their 50s. I'm just saying.
If I'm not mistaken, Herschel may be there. Okay, I'll grant you there might be a few exceptions, although I don't know if I believe Herschel anymore either. Herschel did the natural sit-ups and push-ups, and I know because I used to try to do what he was reported to have done. And if you do that in your 20s and 30s, yeah, you'll be good. But I don't believe Herschel Walker in his 50s without support is doing 1,000 sit-ups and 1,000 push-ups almost every day, which is what he reportedly used to do. I just don't believe it. Once you start crossing 50, it's the recovery time. It's the stamina. It's the
pause.
You pause, right. You can't. I was gonna let that one go, but Kamal, I hear you. I was gonna let it go. I was trying to mature out of my Camden Maestum, and here come Kamal. Brooklyn, ain't nobody getting away from here.
Get out here with us.
But that's true.
Right.
And then Tyson, I'm not sure Tyson hasn't even admitted to using some form of human growth hormone because all these people admit it now. Like, they're happy to be on it. It's like Stallone and all that whole crew. Yeah, I mean, and I just don't believe. I just don't. Although I wouldn't say it to Tyson to his face, though.
I bet
That's
you
a
would.
terrifying experience.
No.
Back to my ism.
Look into the face of death.
Your isms, Ear Doctor.
Okay.
Yes.
So you got racism, you got ageism, disableism. That's one too.
Oh, ableism, but
Ableism.
We'll allow it. We'll allow it.
All
right. Well, here's my new one: intellectualism.
What happened to sexism?
Intellectualism. Listen, I'm
That's-
making it. See, there you go. There you go. Now that's part of it.
Let him
Now,
what?
intellectualism is when those that have a certain intellect look down on people that don't read a whole lot of books and know this, that, and the third. Might be a mechanic that know how to do stuff and fix a car that intellects don't know how to do. You know what I'm saying? Certain things that was taught without a book. But I see a lot of people that read a couple books and this, that, and the third. They shun those who don't know certain things. And I call that intellectualism.
But is that the actual definition?
I just made it.
No.
Oh, it got to be Webster now? The white man?
No.
I might be experiencing some intellectualism right now, actually.
I think you mean anti-intellect. But anyway.
Intellectualism.
School me, Jackie. What do you mean?
So
Make it
to
clear.
know who is looking down on you.
Not just me. I'm talking about other people. I see it all the time. Like I hang around with teachers. Oh, they're so stupid. Like, yo, they might just not know. Why do you know, some people
You're
might not
sitting
be
with
on that
bad
level.
teachers.
They might.
That's a bad teacher. That's not teachers.
Well, they talk about other adults. They're not talking about kids. But what I'm saying
They talk
is,
about other adults. They'll talk about kids.
That's true.
They talking like
I'm
they call
just
them
saying,
kids stupid.
they,
Little John.
some intellects are on this mountain where they look down at those who are not up there. Maybe like even what your boy said, Dr. Clark. But I get it. You don't debate with the intellect if you're trying to get on that. But I'm saying some intellects look down. What do I know?
But Clark was clear though. Don't get mad, get smart was his line. We're not. We can't attack the idea of intellectualism, which has been my argument, that we should all endeavor to be intellectuals, and not all intellectuals are quote unquote scholars. And there's no need to differentiate between someone who can fix a car or whatever you were saying and an intellectual. And I don't think it would be out of pocket to say that there's been some good literature on auto repair that might have even benefited a mechanic here or there to actually be able to read about the vehicle. So I'm just saying,
Some are taught without books. Some are taught by hand, by looking. Some people learn how to play music by not reading the music. They play by playing. So that's what I'm saying.
I think the question becomes when people, so we all have experiential knowledge, book knowledge, areas of expertise, specialties, things that we know that other people don't know. But I think partly some of it comes from, and I think in different areas, when people start speaking about things in which they have not done any research, study, read about, and they speak about it with authority. They speak about it as if they've been, or they are the first ones to either bring knowledge or that they've discovered something new and suggest new terms and so forth. And then they put it out there, and then they expect it not to be countered. And that's the other people don't like to be countered with an argument that may be more factual than what they're delivering, and then therefore it causes all kinds of problems. So it's not always that people are being anti someone who doesn't know more. A lot of times what you have is that the ability for people to learn more and grasp more, right, is essentially necessary for all of us. But, you know, sometimes people don't do that, but they still express very hard opinions about things. And so, not to say it's all fair either. When people look, you know, you should teach in certain ways or whatever, try to at least in certain ways. But then sometimes, you know, people continually do it no matter how you try to teach, and they become somebody to be laughed at and ridiculed.
I got you. I'm a sponge here. I'm here learning. I'm soaking up things.
Are you a sponge?
Yeah,
I don't
know.
Your doctor, I wanted to ask. I mean, yesterday you kind of got beat up. Asymmetrical slapped the
Who
shit
beat
out
him
of
up?
you yesterday, dog. And then here come Nicaragua came through with the stomp. I said, God damn, Ed Doctor, what's happening, man?
Wait a minute. Symmetrical being geometry was very right.
It's asymmetrical is the word, beloved. And you told us yesterday, and I quote,
Well,
it's
she
not
hit me with the beloved.
She hit you with beloved.
She just bullied me like on the
Read, beloved.
quote, if I recall correctly, was asymmetrical is not geometry, it's literature. Quote.
You don't remember us pulling up the definition from Webster's? Oh, that's right.
Are you gonna take a break now?
I guess so, because I'm tired of being right. Listen.
Oh, look. See, you're not even talking about
Look,
intellectualism.
look at that. That was intellectualism on your
See,
part.
I'm learning from y'all. Boy, I tell you. Anyway,
You don't like elitism, which is fine. but some people just really are stupid.
All right. So
It's
we're gonna have to break down some of these terms.
Intellectuals are stupid though. Haven't you met extremely
true.
smart people?
Yes.
who lack
I call them
common
smart
who
dummies
lack
all the
common
time.
sense, who lack street smarts, who lack basic empathy? Like, just because people are quote read or educated doesn't make them good people. You know what I'm saying?
It doesn't even make them smart, to tell you the truth. All the time. It doesn't.
Look at that. I
Makes
learned something
knowledgeable.
today.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and get to our first break. This is no other than the Remix Morning Show. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Why ain't it playing music? Oh, there you go. You rocking that Jay Dilla? Yeah. What's good, everybody? Welcome out to the Remix Morning Show. I go by the name of the Ear Doctor. Please make sure y'all hit that like button. Subscribe if you're new to the channel. We got 296 people watching. We need to see them likes at the same time. Also, go to patreon.com, drop some change in the bucket, become a member over there, and see footage that's rare. And share. That means you care. All right, with that said, let's put it out in the air. A lot of things going on right here on Black Power Media. Let me put y'all on in case y'all miss. Now, we got a bunch of dope shows. One in particular that just came out was no other than Black Myths. Now, they had a part 2 on the Prisoners Built for Profit. Let's see what they was talking about.
Yeah, they win because of the social control that comes from it. The actual profit is that the state now has a solution to its problems that, when you think of it as a whole, and especially once we start really talking about mass incarceration and filling these prisons, it's less about making money, but more so about, like, what does the state do with its problem in society? And the major problem has always been a lack of desire to actually serve the people.
They have. And this big problem that's created by the state, and the solutions that they come up with when it comes to these prisons.
Yeah, y'all got to go check the rest of that out. I can't give it all out right now. You got to go check it out if you haven't. Also, we had Beyond Breaking Barriers, another one where we talk about the whole beef thing going on. Let's see how Piper Carter breaks it down.
Both Meg and Nikki seem keenly aware that their clash has the potential to drive clicks. Even as Nikki insults Meg in Bigfoot, she claims that she's doing her rival a favor. It's the most attention you've ever gotten. Meanwhile, Hiss targets anyone using my name for likes. All this free promo, Meg raps, I'm turning a profit.
It's pretty much been like that. That's funny. When it comes to battle rapping and stuff, one of the first battle raps was two sisters that was on record. We talk about Roxanne Shante and Sparky D as being one of the first battle raps of sisters rhyming and battling just to get that clout and get that name. From there to Showstoppers with Salt and Pepper to Dougie Fresh and Slick Rick, man, it's a whole lot. But with that said, let's go ahead and get back to our crew and get right to it right here on the Remix Morning Show. Let's go.
Man, I just got invited back to Piper's show. Y'all not gonna be able to tell me nothing. Nothing.
Wait a minute, Dougie Fresh and Slick Rick had a falling out?
No. They had a no. When Piper was just talking about how they create beefs in the industry to generate sales and get on, that's what Salt and Pepper did. They came out with Showstoppers to go against, Slick Rick and Dougie Fresh.
Oh.
Roxanne came out to go against UTFO. So beefs was generated.
I didn't know that. You just taught me something. That was very intellectual of you.
Yeah.
KRS-One, MC Shan. We can go down.
Don't keep going. Don't keep going.
Okay.
But that wasn't contrived though.
That wasn't contrived, but it definitely it started something big. Like you ain't hear from MC Shan too much after.
KRS said if Shan didn't respond, but he said if Shan never responded, there would have been no KRS.
Exactly.
And nowadays, I'm kind of wishing he never would have responded.
Yeah.
Stop.
Yeah.
Act like KRS-One ain't give us a lot of good.
Jay-Z had a line I used to like where he said something like, if you liked Bobby and Whitney then, you have to like Bobby and Whitney now.
No, I really don't.
And it was It was yeah, but it was a kind of a play on, at least as I interpreted it, like to get to the part where you don't like them now, you have to have gone through the steps of liking them and their celebrity initially. But yeah, no, I've been kind of reflected on that. What is the value if we had no KRS supporting Eric Adams after a long career of presenting himself as a radical? Would the years of the absence of KRS be worth not having the symbolic collapse?
Was it a symbolic collapse though?
To me, it is. I have to admit that. To me, just reflected on my youth and what KRS meant to my youthful development, and to then see that it feels like a complete collapse. Like, it's very disturbing for me.
I try to keep it in the time, because it's like because people, again, we don't know these artists personally, their real politics, what they say, what they do, how they try to get money. So I keep it as a moment of time to make it easier for me to continue to listen to Black Cop and not feel a certain way about KRS One as I'm listening to it or whatever.
But to Jared's point about the symbolism, I think it went beyond. I mean, it was already bad that KRS One stood on the stage next to Eric Adams, smiles and daps and hugs. But the fact that Eric Adams demanded a freestyle of him and he complied.
And he obliged. And began to freestyle badly.
Like, I put you out here to tap dance. You better tap dance.
And that was just the insult on top of the injury. That I feel like it wasn't symbolic, Jared. I thought, Eric Adams is not one of those Democratic politicians who kind of skates the line of progressivism a little bit and puts on the show and then does stuff in secret, and you don't find out until the budget's passed and your library's closed and you don't have a job. No, Eric Adams is blatant about him being a cop. So I don't see how KRS pins one of the most iconic raps about cops and black cops in particular.
Two of them.
Sound of the Police.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah. I get my rap artists mixed up. I'm blaming all of this on the medication.
Oh my goodness, y'all messing my childhood up. Listen,
but no, and that's the point. It's not that. Sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
No, that's the thing. I don't think the collapse was symbolic. I think he collapsed his own legacy. He did it himself in service to Eric Adams of all. Couldn't he have waited to come along for a black cop with some games,
When you want that paycheck or that notoriety, you got to take it where you can get it at that age. That's why it's like that. He's like, no one's booking me, no one's talking to me. I need a new meal or a new way to revive something. Someone's offering me a stage. He's like, hey, Eric.
They got to renew themselves. That's what Drake said to Joe Budden when Budden said, you stop rhyming to children. And Drake said, I got to. That's where I get the check. That's what keeps me rich and famous. And it was, and so KRS has to find a new way to reclaim his celebrity, to get that star thing re-going. Because, I went into my class the other day ready to have a whole bunch of jokes and fun with the whole Grammy situation. But most of my students, they don't know who Killer Mike is. So I couldn't even get into all the fun and jokes. They were like, who is this guy that won all these Grammys? And that you're hating on, Dr. Ball. And I was like, and I was like, damn it. I was like, you don't even know who Killer Mike is? I'm trying to have my little celebrity fun, and he's not even a celebrity to you. So yeah, so for KRS, he's really at this point probably thinking.
And to be honest, how much money do we think KRS really made, even back in the day? You know what I mean?
Not much.
Yeah, I don't even much. So it's no excuse for the dude, but I'm also saying that that dude is looking for any play, like a lot of older rappers, even at this stage, like the guy, you know what I'm saying, like Rakim. He was a guy. He made a whole bunch of hits, but how much money do we actually think they made during that time period?
That's why they're still touring.
Yeah, they don't get to do stadium concerts like
no.
old rock and roll bands and make
Yeah.
millions of dollars and shit like that. So
Did
they,
KRS-One have a street named after him? Was that part of maybe his game
Ooh,
to
that
be
might have
on
been
there
it.
with New York
No,
City
that's
check in?
interesting.
Because I know they were naming streets after rappers. This was a thing recently.
Oh,
I wonder
wow.
if KRS maybe, got up there and tap danced to make sure that he got KRS-One Boulevard, wherever it was.
Oh wow.
Well, let me
Somewhere
get
in the
out of here so
Bronx.
we can fix this symmetry. Hey, I gotta go at 9. So I
Oh,
left
wow.
y'all with Jules. So I'll see y'all
Oh,
again
wow.
at 8:55. Peace.
Perfect. Thank
left
you,
wow.
doctor.
rules.
And you know what? Speaking of older rappers touring, when you see these rock bands out here still touring, the Rolling Stones still touring, and they're like collectively 1,500 years old, all of them
Really?
together. I think Styx was on tour. These people are
Oh,
older
wow.
than me. Yeah, they're like 56, 58, 60, 70 years old. They're still touring because they don't have any money either.
Really?
I think for the
mean,
Rolling
the
Stones,
Stones?
this-
Stones?
this-
Well, for the Rolling
it's a
Stones, they just
lifestyle.
don't.
Them is a
Yeah,
lifestyle.
they just don't know what else to do. But
Right.
any rock band that is not
no,
like
they're-
on the level of the Rolling Stone, they're still touring because they don't have any money either.
No, they're all on
I
tour to
feel
pay for their new au pairs for their babies with all their 20-year-old wives and
For
girlfriends.
their
So,
their next 20-year-old wife.
See, all the 90s rock bands of those that still survive the 90s, like the Red Hot Chili Peppers still tour, the Foo Fighters still tour, and they don't look broke, baby. They I think Dave Grohl and them doing mighty fine. But that's the generation after the Rolling Stones,
Right.
Maybe 2 generations. But
Right. The Rolling Stones generation, those really old rock, quote unquote gods. Yeah, a lot of them, other than bands like the Stones that have had that kind of a long-term legacy and discography and still putting out albums.
Right.
Most of these rock bands that are touring haven't put out an album in 20 years.
maybe.
So they gotta
Yeah, somebody just mentioned the like the Wu-Tang. I was watching some documentary on some crypto thing, and like in Mexico or whatever, and they toured on that. You know what I mean? Because they probably got hit off with 25 or 30,
yeah.
7 or 8 of them motherfuckers like at times.
Yeah.
So they trying to still get that loot both separately and together or whatever. So people are like so it's. Again, even if we love the music, political or not, it's you're always going to find out some new fun fact that's going to disappoint you about what these mugs are doing, because it's all about either maintaining, keeping, striving, wanting to be, and that means dealing with people who ain't going to who's not thinking about the community, not thinking about what's good for you in the long run. But can I get you for this hot second? I'll pay you whatever, and you get next to me, you got to deal with that legacy. What?
And who's going to a Wu show? I tried to go to that Jizza show, and I needed to have seats arranged, and you know what I mean. I needed who? I'm not hating.
The whites. And you go to
But I'm saying, what age whites though? What age whites? What physical they got young white audiences? Like, because I was ready. I was hobbling over to the joint.
Jared said, put me in the ADA section, please.
I did. I was like, I had to set it up. And they canceled it anyway. But I was like, I had to have the whole thing set up. I was like, who's gonna be standing around in a pit?
So the Wu was just at Capital One Arena, maybe at the end of last year, and it was Wu-Tang and Nas, right? So now they're doing arenas.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So there's seats available. And I guess it's not the old, hip rap mosh pits of yore anymore.
Yeah, the festival style seating. That's
and I'm gonna actually be in the seat.
Exactly. Yeah, I can't do festival style open floor. No, I can't.
All right, ear doctor, slap the map then, ear doctor.
Damn, he's putting up signs.
He's putting up signs. He's just abusive with the chyrons. Go ahead then, slap the map then.
Happy Black History Month, everybody. It's the Remix Morning Show on Black Power Media. Today is Thursday, February the 8th, 2024. We've got a big show for you. Ear Doctor has already bullied us into slapping the map. So here we are. We got the crew with us. Look at him. Everybody stunting, shining. Look at sis, Jacqueline Lutman, the co-host of Darker Than Blue on WPFW.org, Fridays at 5 p.m. Be sure to tune in for that. Kamal Franklin, we don't know what Kamal does. Jared Ball is in the building. I'm sorry. It's one of those days, y'all.
It's all good. It's all good. Hey, but listen, real quick, before we get to anything serious, speaking of what Kamal does, I tried to get I tried to get my Kamal on yesterday, but speaking of bad backs and not being skilled at it, I had to lean on the podium and read. But I do want to shout out the attempt to collectively bargain for faculty and grad students in the rally that took place in Annapolis yesterday, with the United Auto Workers supporting, and the American Federation of Teachers and the American Association of University Professors, and a lot of folks were out there yesterday. I did my little 2-minute read, and so shout out to them. And so I don't know how the Kamal types just roll up there and just grab the megaphone and bomb on them like that. You and Jackie, I can't do that. So I need to lean on a podium, shaking, and read a script. Yeah, standing still with a bad back is like the worst thing. So it's very difficult to stand still. But shout out to all the good people out there. You know, we made a little noise, and to see people that I went to undergrad with in suits walking into their state senatorial meet is still some wild, surreal stuff. Be like, I remember you was running around the yard, son. In a suit.
Now you're professional.
Now you professional. So shout out to them, and then shout out to my oldest. Last night she did we did this. It was senior night at the local high school basketball game, and my daughter was doing. She's a pom. Whatever they are. So they at the halftime they did a senior thing, and my wife and I got to walk out with her, and like celebrating her as a senior and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, it was kind of dope. And haven't seen high school basketball in a long time, so that was interesting. There's some ball players out here. There's a little bit of ball players out here, and angry parents not liking the refs. It was some hostile. It was some hostilities. It was some rough language, and from old Black women. It was old Black women last night leading the charge.
That's with my grandbaby with that.
Basically, that's what it was.
You're blind,
you motherfucker. He was not. And I was like, whoa. I said, it's been a minute. I said, okay, all right. The energy, okay. So yeah,
I got put out of that gym. Actually,
you got put out of a game.
I got put out of the gymnasium that Jared was just in last night. I got put out.
What?
Howard? Huh?
I saw the sign. It said Kim was here. It said
or Kim can't come back.
Kim can't come. If you see this face,
yeah, the picture like at the stop.
35 years after the fact, 30 years after the fact. No return for her. No, I got put. I never forget. Our basketball team was playing. We were hosting Cardinal Gibbons from the Baltimore Catholics, right? And I was harassing them. Cardinal Gibbons. Like I was moving across the gym. Cardinal Gibbons. And here come this big white Howard County cop. You come on. And I was like, what? And then this white man started to yell at me, and then I burst out crying because I was a child, and I was like, why is this adult screaming at me? So that was what prompted me to write a letter to the Howard County Police Department making a complaint. And the cops, I was about 16. The cop came to my house. I think I told you all this story. This cop came to my house in a marked police car, parked in my driveway after school when my mother was not home, and spoke to me. And he was not supposed to talk to me not in the presence of my mom. And told me that he got my little letter. Wow. and we not worried about whatever you said about Officer Jenkins. I was like, okay.
Oh wow.
Damn.
Yeah.
They
That's
rolled
a
up on your house and threatened a 16 and
That is correct.
intimidated a 16-year-old.
A letter.
Wow.
I wrote a letter. I wonder if my mother still has that letter. I might have.
Gee, I
printed it.
wonder why people say all cops are bastards.
No shit, right?
Since we telling stories, me and my friends, we will be up in the bleachers saying 1, 2, 3, kill the referee. 3, 2, 1, kill the other one.
Rough and Trenton at the basketball games, Shorty.
Last night there was no flavor to it. There was no rhythm. There was no cadence or rhyme. It was motherfucker call the game right. That's my baby out there. Get this shit together. What the fuck you doing? I mean, it was a little crew over there that was like led by an old black woman. Grandma was over there like, look.
Don't you traumatize
My son is going to the league. Yeah, my grandbaby's going to the league. You about to mess this bag up
with your blind ass.
You can't go to the league if you making bad calls out here. If you're calling them for
if he fouls out in the third quarter, he can't get on tape and get to the league, you motherfucker. And I got a cane right here. I'll see you in the parking lot, goddamn. You got to get out of here one way or another, motherfucker. Yeah, it was wild. She was. It was a little intense for a minute, but I was just there to watch the palms.
You going to hell, motherfucker.
Wow. I did a news story. We covered the attempt to unionize and collectively bargain among Maryland faculty.
I got a story. I
Go ahead,
come at it, but it was one of those. I think this is a Fox News. It's one of those things, like I guess every now and then, well, at this stage in history with Trump, over the last 8 years, they keep bringing up stories about black men and their switch to Trump from either Biden or the Democrats. And some of it I don't necessarily believe. Some of it I find interesting. So they did the whole barbershop interview. I love it when they always go to our community and every interview's in the fucking barbershop. Like that's like it's so many stereotypes about the barbershop.
Where else do black men go?
Y'all don't go anywhere else. Y'all don't go to
the street corner or it's the barbershop.
Y'all don't go to the library.
Right.
Where else can you find it?
Where else did he be at? It's the barbershop or the jail. Where else you going?
Right.
Oh wow.
Is that common? Who is that?
No, I don't know. So let me see if this plays correctly.
With Trump.
That's uncommon.
Money. Donald Trump has a reputation of being the money man. So
I just think that Donald Trump, in spite of all the craziness he may have in his head,
can we turn it up a little bit?
Yeah,
I can kind of agree with as far as business wise because I'm trying to grow my business.
A lot of people admire the persona, and they want to be him. They want to enjoy the perks that he has. He seems to always be able to circumvent the rules.
You're hearing that too, that there's some people in your orbit who are either voting for Donald Trump or considering it?
For sure. A lot of my friends are obviously my age, so we're a little younger. We've only voted once, for a president. And Trump is kind of all we know. And they're kind of Trump and Biden. They're like, well, we were broke with Biden. We weren't with Trump. And that's kind of the only thing that I'm hearing over and over again, is that, well, Trump, we had money. Well, okay,
where?
I hear you guys, but personally,
people know he was actually president for a minute, right?
So yeah.
And
so
that headline is that headline is a lie, because the whole group of black men did not tell MSNBC why Trump appeals to them. 2 of the 4 did. That headline, this is how they get us. This is they do these unscientific little, find a place where hopefully we'll find the most uneducated black men we can find. and 2 of them say, yeah, I'll vote for Trump because I had money when he was president. Like what? But no, I needed that interviewer to ask him how, where, prove that.
They're just developing the tape that they're gonna roll after Trump wins, and they blame black people for the loss. They'll be like, roll the tape. Remember, we told you at the barbershop.
But you guys remember, I mean, there's something about these incumbent Republican presidents, because I can remember when W was running for his second term, and not specifically black men, but black people as a demographic. If I recall correctly, Bush doubled. I mean, I think it went from 3 to 6% of the black vote, but it still was a significant increase, relatively speaking. But Bush got the black vote by really campaigning hard against gay marriage. Like, I don't know if you guys remember, Bush went to the black church and did the whole, as you know, Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve, and that had some resonance. So I think it's interesting to see Trump, even though he's not the incumbent, but is running for a second term, whatever he's saying or whatever Biden is not saying or doing is having some appeal to some other black folks. And I don't think that that's false, by the way. I think some black men are seriously entertaining voting for Donald Trump.
I think there's truth in it. I always feel like that when they do these things, when you look at the statistics, and I was going to say, I don't think this is a good thing, but when you look at the stats, it's usually like the most loyal Democratic voters. If you really segment it out, right? If black people, but then you segment around black people, black women, I mean, around the whole list, black women, and then black men are second always in terms of the highest, like it's like, black women are like 96%. Black men are like 92%. But then they use that difference to then go in and say, wait a minute, black men in particular are splitting off or all this thing around black men. So, I see it as a propaganda value, particularly for right wing and or moderates to have a story or to suggest something, and then to push a lot of voting rights groups to, again, focus in on black men, and then they get more money to focus in on black men to bring them back to the quote unquote fold. So I think all this stuff is part of a larger propaganda game, but because it's not like I don't see these interviews around white women who are like, white women vote for Trump 59.8%, white men vote for Trump 60 whatever percent, right? So it's not that kind of similar racial analysis given to the vast majority of Trump voters. But if there's like you said, like a 3% difference in the way in which black women and black male vote, then that's used as a story to foment either discontent within and or to paint a certain narrative and so forth. And again, not saying voting for Biden is the way we need to go, but when it comes to the loyalty issue of which way they are going, it's certainly, I see small numbers, but then I think the media stories hype it up to be a lot more than what I actually see, or anybody I talk to in the barbershop.
Well, yeah, because they never want to ask the question or raise the discussion of why would anybody in any community, black or otherwise, be considering Trump over Biden, and beyond these kinds of empty. In other words, the discussion can't become, or a focus can't become on the failings of the Democrats. That maybe we're considering it because 8 years of Obama, 4 years of Biden. Where we at? Where we at? And then, of course, they're never going to sit down with a group of black men or any other and say, well, who might be saying, well, yeah, I'm not voting for Biden, but I'm not voting for Trump either. I'm voting for this alternative or that, or I'm not voting at all. And let's discuss that. And again, in the context of the Democrats have had all this power and all this time, don't ever do anything. So the differences we're supposed to acknowledge are not overt enough. They're not clear enough, or substantive enough. So, yeah.
And I think anybody who is still seriously, and I know that's where a lot of our people are still seriously entertaining whether to vote for any Republican or any Democrat, when what we really need is a third party, viable third parties in this country. I'm very suspicious of, I know that, we're not as organized as we need to be on the left, but those are the people that we need to get reading some stuff. Those are the people we need to be, talking to and telling them, if the Democrats do nothing for you, why would you vote for them? But on the other hand, if the Republicans do nothing for you, why would you vote for them either? And then you, Mr. Businessman in the middle, show me when you had some money when Trump was president, because I don't believe you did. Unless he's talking about the
stimulus,
thank you, the COVID loans that mysteriously got forgiven, almost all of them, but our student loan debt, Biden couldn't figure that one out. Okay, yeah.
What's interesting to me about some of this Black right-wing propaganda, it comes down to the issue of immigration and the so-called border patrol, because I again, to the extent that these conversations are happening amongst Black people in real time, I'm not sure, but when you look online, I see a lot of clips being floated and circulated from Black people espousing very anti-immigrant perspectives, very xenophobic perspectives, from Chicago to New York to Texas. Is like, and the immigrants, these illegals. I'm like, Jesus Christ, when I hear Black people say the word illegal, that shit makes me want to throw things. But that is an issue that I feel as though this tiny sliver of potential Black Trump voters, that's one that they're kind of seizing upon. I mean, the business aspect about Trump and his personality is one thing, but in terms of an issue, they're kind of being galvanized around this issue of immigration.
Yeah, I think there's always been an underlying, and obviously it's exploited even more around the what is it? What's the thing there? The FBA, what's the other thing? Adolf and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. So there's always been that before these groups even existed. Like, I do remember having conversations with Black folks, right? And the immigration thing, right? And again, not a large percentage, not like it's the vast majority of whatever, but I agree, Kim, like it's like that underlying idea of like, oh, and again, it's the propaganda and where we focus, right? So people are upset because they think they're going to have to compete with lower wage workers, but no one is thinking about, well, that's the trap, right? That's the game. It's like it's some of these folks they do want to allow in because they will work for whatever, but isn't the idea that we should be teaming up with these folks because others are exploiting all of our labor? But it's far easier, the capitalist system makes it far easier to pit us against each other, obviously. And then some of this stuff goes not only around, immigration as in, what's usually thought of as like Latino immigration, but I've, like some of the stuff too around like folks from the West Indies and the Caribbean and all that kind of stuff from the continent. So I think the little milus of like dislike or exploited for bad reasons. And when we fall right into, too many times, we fall into the trap of separating ourselves as opposed to being like, there's a larger entity, a larger enemy, a larger group of folks who are functioning to control that labor pool because they benefit, right? And we busy fighting for the crumbs as always.
And usually, people have a very right-wing response to immigration because they don't read, and they're still too invested in this system, this capitalist system as it exists, because people, and I've had the same kind of conversation with Black folks even before this ADOS thing became a thing, which it was weird to see it happen. But I've had conversations with Black people who are like, I don't have anything against those people. They just need to go back home. It's like, wait, do you not understand why and how they have left their homes? Who in their right mind leaves where they live in another country, hundreds, if not thousands of miles away, walks that entire way to another country, again, hundreds or thousands of miles away, 2-3 other countries away from their home to get to where they think is safe, only to find out the place they're going to is the place where the problem in their country emanates from. So if people, especially Black people, but if anybody has a problem with immigration or immigrants and wanting them to go back home, then we need to challenge the capitalist imperialist militarism of the US government, because that is what creates the dynamic of refugees leaving their countries, because their governments are unstable. They can't live there. They don't feel safe. There's no way for them to make a living there because of what the US government has done in their countries. So when I have this conversation about immigration with people and they come with, well, I just want them to go home. I can't. They people need to hear the truth about the cause of these problems. And if they want to continue on that, I'm not racist, but I just want the immigrants to go home, then get away from me, because I told you the truth. And now you just don't want to think any way differently. Just stay away from me at that point.
People's lack of empathy for what undocumented folks, migrant folks have done to come to this country, to me, is so galling. Like, I watch Henry Louis Gates, Finding Your Roots. Don't judge me. So I was, but I've been watching several seasons of this series, and it's always the stories of admiration and just, like tremendous gratitude from people that came from Europe. Oh, they were fleeing the Irish potato famine. Oh, they were fleeing the pogroms and the Pale of Settlement. And there's so much reverence for what these Europeans did to get to America. But it's like the same lens, the same sort of, appreciation for the sacrifice is not given to these modern day refugee seekers, asylum seekers, right? Like, these people should be helped. They should be applauded. They should be welcomed with open arms and resources. Like, God damn, we know what you did to get here. Come on in. Like, but they get the opposite. And when they get that hate and that vitriol coming from our people, that shit just boils me bad.
It's the victory. It's the Wakanda forever victory of the imperialists, that they get to stand back and watch black and brown people fight each other over what the white folks have stolen and created. One of the reasons they can have, not in addition to the whiteness, that they can happily accept European immigrants is because they can also feel confident that they were not the cause of the conditions that led the Europeans to want to come here. Whereas here, they are the cause that leads many Latin Americans to want to migrate here or feel forced to. And if you ever spend any time paying attention to those stories of those people, they have no real interest in being here in the first place. This is all desperation and panic and sadness. That is caused by U.S. foreign policy, Democrat or Republican. So, but speaking of those who are always welcome, regardless of the panic they cause.
Okay, what is he doing?
The very erudite. Oh boy, there you go.
I was looking up Milu.
Milieu?
Milieu? What was that word you said?
Why are you looking up some girl's name? It's milieu.
It's Humu?
Milieu.
Humu.
What is that?
It's the
only for the listeners.
I interpret it as French. It's a French word meaning the middle, right?
Yeah, mixture of.
Damn, come on, speaking French.
But I didn't pronounce it completely correctly because I don't speak French.
Oh,
I do the best I can.
Correctly at all.
I gave myself a break. Oh my god.
That was some girl's name. That was some snow bunny's name you pronounced.
Give me some water, girl.
I know wee and French fries. Lord, he's talking about me, you.
That was a nice word. It was
Nice one.
excellent usage of the word there. Come out.
If I could, once I get the pronunciation down, apparently.
Yeah, whatever. You're American. No one expects Americans to pronounce foreign words, right?
This one doesn't. No, it doesn't. It doesn't pronounce.
I'll never forget. The dude told us on the tour bus. I know you all can't say it, so just say when we hit the street, you can call it the Champs Elysees. I'll never forget him saying he was on the bus megaphone, and me and my boy was in the back drunk, and I was like, I can say Champs-Elysees, motherfucker. Who the fuck you talking about? I'm an American naval motherfucker. I say Champs-Elysees. We high-fiving in the back. Champs-Elysees, motherfucker. Champs-Elysees. Champs-Elysees. So it was like a real contradictory. We're showing we can do it, but we also being real black American right now. It was real. It was funny though. Champs-Elysees. I was offended as shit. I was like, Champs-Elysees, fuck your language, motherfucker. Punk asses let the Nazis roll up through these streets. Step through the street, motherfucker. I know what happened around here. Champs-Elysees. I call it whatever the Nazis
Keep going, Jared. Keep going.
Yeah, I was like, all types of shit.
I don't know. If
It was all types of shit.
Show.
You can't, and don't let it. That's why you can't let people drink it. You can't let people get beer at Burger King and McDonald's. Like it's just not. That's how it wasn't. That's how it is in Paris. And we was tore up on the bus. I'm saying you can't let a bunch of sailors drop them off and let them get beer at the McDonald's. Man, please. We was a mess. Champs Elysees.
They live in the Miller High Life out there. Wow.
Yeah.
All right. Well, listen, let's go ahead and take a quick. Let's take a quick break. We're going to come back right here on the Remix Morning Show.
Yeah. You don't shine. Yeah. You don't shine.
Let's get it right here. Remix Morning Show, y'all. Let's do it.
Check it out. Check it out.
Come on.
I'm so high. I'm so high.
All right.
I'll be getting money till the day that I die. I'm so high.
So high.
I'll be getting money till the day that I die. Rumors that spreading. Claim that sense in me planting. But I'm a daddy juggling. Up your rumors are war. Leave me so happy, son. Let go me hand. You don't know me and you don't understand. You see me flashing at Chris Rain time.
Hey!
So you think that me a criminal? Rumors that spreading. Claim that sense in me planting. But I'm a daddy juggling. Up your rumors are war. Rumors are war.
Yeah. Once again, welcome out, y'all. This is the Remix Morning Show. I go by the name of the Ear Doctor. Make sure y'all hit that like and subscribe button, as you just heard right there. A little bit of no other than Freddie McGregor off that Rumors album in 1996. And yes, in the background, you also hear, that's right, no other than bam, Mike Geronimo. Mike Geronimo off his The Natural album that came out in 1995. With Royal Flush on that one. So yeah, that's how we do it. A little remix on the remix. In case you didn't know, make sure y'all hit that like, subscribe, throw a little change in the chat room, and we gonna get it. All right. With that said, let's get back to the Remix Morning crew. Now we do.
Wow, Mike Geronimo.
Whoa.
Yeah, his career would have probably went longer if he did some things with Diddy. I know he was working with him, but I guess he said no to Diddy and
kept
that
it
career. He kept the virgin. He kept the virgin.
Half a dozen in the other, right?
You had to trade off though. Do you get to stay alive for longer, or do you make some money with Diddy and die young? You know what's the deal? Well, little money with Diddy and die young.
That's what it is. So yeah, listen, y'all have a great weekend. Rock out.
Where you going?
Damn, why you always
That's
come
right.
late and don't know?
He's gotta teach today.
This is actually my last week of teaching, so I will be here in the morning.
Oh,
in what morning?
Friday
morning?
No, I'm talking about for the Remix Morning Show. Yes.
Oh, wonderful!
Yes.
That's great.
I'm starting
Starting
an after school program next week. So
did you get fired?
No, not at all. I stepped back because I need to work on my after school program.
Okay. No one complained. There's no letter in your file. No letters in the file.
Not at all. They said, "Damn," they was actually upset. They was like, "Come on, man." I was like, "Listen, the money ain't moneying." So that's what it is.
He said, "Fuck the kids. The money ain't money."
He said elect Trump and let's get some real money.
Oh, I did not say that.
Oh boy.
I'm running. I'm going for Cornell. So that's what we're doing. All right. Well, I'll catch y'all next time. Next week, y'all have a great weekend. Peace.
Yeah, Doctor, be safe out here. Thank you. Anyway,
we got to get Cornell back. Oh, sorry, Kim.
Oh, it's cool. I don't know. Well, they not mentioning Cornell even doing much in some of these recent, the South Carolina primary, and then what they just have Nevada caucus or some shit. I don't know. I keep hearing Marianne and author Marianne Williams got 2%. I'm like, damn, what did Dr. West get? I guess not much, but regardless. That's another topic. Anyway,
the other ones are not in the Democratic primary, though, right? It's just Biden, her, and maybe one or two others, right?
Some congressmen.
Yeah, who MSNBC just had on for like the first time in 9 months. He was complaining or something like that.
Wow, really?
Oh yeah, no, he was berated. He was berated, and the hostess attacked him for like his low poll numbers, the fact that basically pushing him out the door that he needs to get out the race.
It's
and
2%.
You don't even know his name.
Nope.
It does, right?
And that's the point.
Yeah, Congressman somebody. But his point was like, hey, you like people don't know my name because places like he said Fox has on a whole bunch of the competitors. Obviously, it's a more open race or whatever, but everybody gets to come on and debate, and people have done individual interviews with them. He said MSNBC, it's the first time y'all had me on in 9 months. So y'all coordinating this dude, and that's why you don't know my name.
That's right. DNC is what it is. You know what I mean? Like just the fact that Simone Sanders and Jen Psaki have shows on MSNBC, I think is so disgusting. And I'm like, because I would like to hear from either journalists or even actual people with political opinions. I don't want to hear from former mouthpieces of the fucking state.
And remember, Jen Psaki's replacement used to be on MSNBC.
Right.
So it's like they just swapping them in and out.
And that damages, in my opinion, MSNBC's credibility as a media outlet. I can't trust y'all. All y'all do is give me Democratic talking points. That's it. Spoken by Democrats, people who have held prominent positions in Democratic administrations or with the party itself. No, thank you.
What was it? I think Pew did a thing. What was it? A year or so ago, maybe longer. But they were making a point to your point, Kim, that that's all that they're here to do, and that they actually, when compared to Fox at this, whatever I'm referring to here, that I can't remember either. But what I do remember is that they were slightly behind Fox in reaching the 97 percentile of Democratic, like. Fox gets like 98% of Republicans, and MSNBC only gets like 97% of Democrats. So, but they were saying the point of the report was that's their whole point. They're not, so all the jokes about MSDNC and all that is very real. That's all they're here to do. So yeah, and the only reason I think that Trump or that Fox would give more room for other Republicans is because the Republican ruling elite really don't like Trump.
Yeah.
Right.
So they were hoping to prop somebody up. But the Dems are like, we got nothing but this. What is it? What you said? The sack of potatoes that he's a bag or something like that. Somebody, what are you buying? An animated sack of potatoes
was going to be their boy to replace Trump, and then I think there was a little hope that Haley would rise. But I think these cats are now they're trying to get the vice presidency, right? They're trying to be right under Trump, get that vice presidency again, wait for the clock to tick, 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 tick. And, somebody's not in office anymore, and you're going to a state funeral and you're appointed president for the next 2 years. And then you get to run on that. So I think folks are lining up. And the way Trump works, he picks the most boring, non-threatening, unassuming. So I think none of these cats getting the job. Trump will pick somebody who's like, you're no challenge to me. What you're just you're like a new Pence.
Plus, Nikki's a woman and an Indian or whatever. Like he was says like he's like
out on that. Yeah, he's like, I can't. She's like pure racism and sexism alone. I can't move this. He'll have to get somehow talk. It'll be like the last one to talk to him, like one of his kids. That'll be how if she does gets picked. But I think they're really going for like whoever's the blandest, whoever is like no name recognition, no one who's going to get any real media play that takes a camera off of Trump for a second. That'll be the person they pick or whatever.
And it has to be somebody that's going to give Trump some conservative some other conservative validation, like Mike Pence. Mike Pence has a long reputation, pro-life and anti-health, and wasn't it Mike Pence that helped to create a HIV outbreak in the state of Indiana because I think he had cut funding for Planned Parenthood, and conversely, the testing funding also went away, and
there was an outbreak of HIV because of that. Yes.
Right. So probably somebody like that. He needs one of those, very churchy, evangelical, because Trump is none of those things, right? He ain't evangelical, he ain't churchy, he ain't no particular moral person. So Pence gave him some sort of credence amongst, the staunch evangelical
nationalists. Yeah. Someone suggesting Tim Scott.
That I was just about to say that.
Go ahead.
I think if out of all of the people that we've seen so far, I think Trump would pick Tim Scott.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's a black guy.
How many times has Trump
I got a black. I brought a black in.
I'm here my favorite black. My favorite black. Timmy, come on over here, Timmy.
Come on.
Timmy, come talk to the people, Timmy.
Do a freestyle for me right here, Tim. Do a freestyle for me.
Oh man.
It's gonna be it's a mess. It's a mess. It's gonna be a mess. But
Trump is in court today. What's happening at the Supreme Court? They was showing people lined up, that niggas had camped out and shit out front of the Supreme Court trying to get tickets. Because I guess the court is supposed to at least hear whether or not Trump's immunity shit is supposed to happen. There's something happened at the Supreme Court today, everybody. I apologize for not being able to tell you what it is.
That's the Remix Morning Show news right there. Something's happening somewhere, motherfuckers.
I don't know where. It's definitely something happening, y'all.
It's the ballot case around him being on, I guess, on Colorado ballot. Some places.
Oh, right.
And the Supreme Court is making a decision about whether or not they can throw him off, even though, again, I think the Trump argument is that he hasn't been convicted of anything, like in terms of a quote unquote crime, not like a civil case. And so therefore, how can they take him off the ballot? So that'll be his basic argument.
Yeah, that's what I thought. They reported that Trump's argument is that that January 6th wasn't an insurrection and he didn't have nothing to do with it. So there you go. Alrighty. Good luck. Good luck with that, President Trump.
This election is going to be a mess. It's going to be a mess.
Folks, if, given the mess that it is going to be, if you need another option to consider, we did have that interview with Davi running for the Green Party nomination this week. The interview was this week. He's running for the Green Party nomination, so you could check that out and add potentially him to the mix of consideration, to the milieu of considerations of what it is that
Jared, that was good.
Just trying to keep up with your doctor. He had set a high standard. It's rough. So, but and we'll continue to offer up room for the other
and our own election analysis.
Yes.
Yes, we'll have election analysis. All these shows go up when it gets close. Everybody's waiting for it. I want to see the first debate, B. I'm serious. As much as I hate the country, I want it to fall apart. The comedy of Trump and Biden standing.
Oh my God. That
4 years later. At Biden,
that should be. We should do a thing. We should have a debate night, drink celebrations.
That's when we should have the drinking show.
Smoke with the tokers. Hold on, the tokers.
All that too. Yeah. Kim, I'm my bad, Kim. You're right. I just assume it's a given. I have to specify the drinks because for me, the smoke is given. But you're right. It's the drinks I have to specify. Everything else is just I expect that to be part of it. But yes, we need to have a nice little BPM because I'm with you on that, Kamal. I'm not gonna front. I'm a little bit like I need some comedy with my genocide and misery. You know what I mean? A little side of comedy.
The throwbacks say we should totally revisit those 2016 Republican presidential debates when Trump was reading down Marco Rubio and Jeb Bush and telling Jeb Bush that his brother done fucked up the Iraq war. Trump was. You ain't never seen that before, shorty. Like, that shit was amazing to watch. And even the Trump debates with Hillary Clinton, and she's like, well, you didn't pay your taxes. He said, yeah, because I'm smart. Damn.
It's like, damn, I can't even argue with that.
And that's why my students, and that's why I got students saying they like him. They like that. That's why the dudes in the barbershop were like, I kind of like that. And that's my point. But Hillary is so whack, and instead of letting that be the focus, it becomes, Trump. He's got bars because she's whack.
Right. That's line. I think it was after he was president. Was when did he say something like, "We got killers too"?
Yep.
Yeah. No, he said the same thing. He said something like something was like, and somebody tried to assassinate somebody. He was like, well, that's what we do too. Like that's like we do.
I think the journalist was asking him about Putin, and it's like, Putin's a killer. And he was like, well, shit, we got killers. He's like,
well, we got killers. He was on his ditty.
Media's like, you're not supposed to say that shit. What's wrong with you? Even the media is like, no, now I gotta write this a certain way. I gotta move around this.
He's like, that's why we gave the nukes to Israel in the first place. That's why we put this, say that.
We didn't expect this problem to still exist because we gave them the nukes.
Told them to use it
Slow
3 times.
down. Donnie, slow down.
You revealed too much. What's the intelligence briefing? Like, stop giving him intelligence briefings. Whatever.
And then they get mad when he takes all of the classified documents and shows them. See, this wasn't my idea. This was what's the guy's name? The former Miley. This is General Mark Miley's idea. See,
that's why he was like, we was reviewing the documents in my crib in Mar-a-Lago.
In the bathroom. In the bathroom. I'm sitting on the toilet looking over.
I've got a chandelier in the bathroom, right?
Gold toilet. I'm on the gold toilet.
I'm on the gold. Looking over all these top secret documents. That's how I know where Israel got everything.
I gotta say, the fact that Trump was showing all the national security secrets to any fucking body, I gotta say, I love it.
It's a party favor. It's a party favor. Hey, come on in here. Come in the room.
I could have declassified these, but I didn't. No, you couldn't have declassified it.
Right? Self-declassifying. Like, no, I just waved the hand, waved the wand. It's declassified. See, look at that.
Like, this is what I gave the order to kill the Iranian general right here. Look at that. Check all that out. This is the Bob, the price time.
I had to sign off on it. Look at my signature right there.
I was the president. I should still be the president, but I had nothing to do with that.
Ooh, y'all, Trump gonna win. Well, I'm sorry. It's going to win, y'all. I want to talk to, if anybody knows, can we hear from the Palestinians and from the Muslim communities out there in Dearborn, Michigan, right there outside of Detroit? Because I'm telling you, I think Michigan is going to be what capsizes the shit for Joe Biden, to be honest. Like it's too close there. And the Palestinians have already said, we are not voting for fucking Genocide Joe. And I said, yup. Y'all shouldn't vote for Genocide Joe. So I want to hear that take. I want to get that perspective from that community.
And I saw on Electronic Intifada how there are Palestinian activists outside of Blinken's house with their very healthy and easily removable, cleanable blood staining liquids that they're throwing all over the street and all over the cars and all over. And they've just been harassing this dude. They've taken up the whole street outside his house, all legal.
Where does he live?
That's a good question.
Northern Virginia?
It's got to be somewhere around here. Yeah,
somewhere close.
And I'll look for the video in a second. And maybe I don't know if they say exactly where it is, but I was just connecting it to this story that Erica has here that Israel rejects Hamas's ceasefire plan after meeting with Blinken. And that was the point to all of what you're saying. What I heard them saying in those interviews with EI is these are the people creating the problem. So they weren't explicitly saying anything about the election, but they're very clear. Whatever people thought they were going to get with Biden as an improvement over Trump, as it relates to what's happening, obviously in Gaza, don't make no difference. And then all of Biden's boys, Blinken leading the way, are partnering with Netanyahu in helping him at least reach a conclusion that he can reject a ceasefire, because either they're not challenging him with enough of an actual threat, or they're quietly telling him don't do it. So it's like, after meeting with Blinken, he's like, why should I back down? Blinken ain't really saying anything like we're about to, whatever.
Blinken says what he afterwards he said something like, because Netanyahu said they were stepping up their invasion, I think close to the border of Egypt. I'm forgetting the city or the area in which they were talking about going. But that's their next step, where over 1 million Palestinians have gone towards, because that's where that's one of the few places left that hasn't been directly bombed over and over and over again. It's where the food trucks come in from Egypt. And so now they're going there next. And then Blinken's response is, we hold Israel responsible for trying to make sure that civilian death is lowered or there's not a lot of that. So that's their chastisement publicly, knowing already that they've killed 30,000 mostly.
Look at that
Palestinian
line,
civilians.
Kamal.
Mm-hmm.
Netanyahu calls the plan to ceasefire delusional and says that a ceasefire will invite another massacre. Can you the twisted back?
Mm-hmm.
So what's happening now is preventing another massacre. I mean, that's some
going on now
wild.
is preventing another massacre.
Mm-hmm. And they get away with it, right? Well,
Right.
Why stop? Why stop?
And
And
this continues to assert that they're not going to stop until Hamas is, quote, eliminated. But it's like, okay, but you're going to kill every Palestinian woman and child and innocent man, or non-militarized man in the pursuit of that effort. So anyway, I'm sorry.
No, innocent is the right word, and that's exactly what they know. That's what they're doing. That is exactly, if anybody in the United States asked Benjamin Netanyahu that very same thing, you want to destroy Hamas, but you're going to kill tens of thousands of innocent people in the meantime, he would probably say, well, yeah. I mean, because at this point, they're not even hiding the fact that they want to either murder or displace all of the Palestinians from Gaza and the West Bank. They want them all gone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm just showing some of the video here as you all continue to talk of this activist on Electronic Intifada talking about they're camped outside the house there. They're throwing all they went into detail like it's very healthy and clean and easily cleanable liquid, however they put it together, but it's like food coloring. You can actually eat it. It's not, so they're very careful to. And then she points out that they're all doing this legally. That if you see where they've camped out on the street there, that's all legal public property. The only thing that they were told that they couldn't do anymore was some of the sound. There was some state law saying something vague about you can't disturb the sanctity of the houses or something like that. So you can't play electronically mediated sound. But in terms of being there, throwing this stuff and they have clips of the family coming in and out of the driveway and they're throwing the liquids on the cars and expressing how Blinken's wife looks visibly shook by all of this. And
that's what they're worried about. Yeah.
Well,
that's what the media is worried about. No, that's
yeah. And she's clear. She said,
Is the media covering these protests?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
I had not heard anything about it until this morning.
Right.
Axios is reporting, because I was trying to look up where he lives. It's in Northern Virginia, of course. And so Axios, a mainstream media outlet, is at least giving some written coverage that this is happening. But I don't honestly watch enough mainstream news to know to what extent this level of coverage is actually taking place or what frame they're putting on it. They're probably saying, these horrible, to your point, Kamal, they're disturbing the peace of these poor diplomats and officials. But yeah, so I shout out to them. They don't know, they've been there for like 100 and some days, I think, already. Wow. And they're going to stay, but they're not entirely sure what the plan is. She says we hadn't really figured this all out yet. But she said, if the people in Gaza don't have peace and a chance to rest, why should they?
That's right.
So shout out to them. Shout out to them for that, for sure.
I need to find out where they are. I feel like they need some supplies.
Okay.
Support, supplies, people.
Yeah. I need to find out.
Yeah, this story only goes so far as to say Northern Virginia, but
they're not going to tell you exactly where.
Well, shit, they told you exactly.
It ain't going to be that hard to find out because they found it. I mean,
exactly.
So,
remember when they were out in front of Brett Kavanaugh house? They was out in front of Sam Alito house after the Dobbs decision, but that was in Montgomery County, I think. So
yeah.
And
here's what Netanyahu didn't agree to. This is what he said was ridiculous about the plan. Hamas offered to release the rest of the Israeli hostages in exchange for all of the Palestinian hostages held by Israel. And that's thousands of people, women, elderly men, and children in Israeli prisons, most without a trial. Most haven't had any kind of legal assistance. Most have been abused by Israel. And then Hamas called for Israel to completely withdraw and to allow the displaced to return, and for Israel to be responsible for rebuilding what they destroyed. And it's the returning, it's obviously not wanting to release the hostages, the rest of the hostages that Israel holds of Palestinians. But there's also Israel not wanting to allow 1.2 million Palestinians the right of return, because they've always denied the right of return to Palestinians. They don't want those people to have their land back. And they certainly don't want to withdraw from Gaza. Netanyahu has already said that he and his fascist genocidal coalition has said that after this war, genocide, whatever it is, they intend for Israel to govern Gaza after this is over. So that's absolutely reasonable. It is absolutely their right to demand this, but Israel is like, no. Netanyahu went to talk to Blinken, and Blinken is like, yeah, don't pay any attention to that crap.
Mm-hmm. Like we'll keep negotiating, and that'll take another 3 months. There'll be another 50 to 60,000 Palestinians dead. It'll be another 300,000 or 400,000 that need to exit Gaza for either medical. Because we speak about the dead, but imagine the amount of injured, right? If you got 30,000 dead, and you're talking about literally hundreds of thousands of people who have been injured in various ways, and there's no hospitals. And so where else are they going to begin to have to seek treatment is going into Egypt or other places. And although Egypt is saying they're not going to be able, they don't want to take, they obviously, people are going to find ways to get out of a situation where they're literally being bombed. And so I think the real plan of Israel is what you said, Jackie, is they're going to create a buffer zone, one. And so they're not interested in leaving Gaza. They're trying to create a buffer zone, which will soon turn into settlements, which will soon turn into a larger land grab. They will continue, even at a lower pace, to kill Gazians, to kill Palestinians, and then they will push those folks out and claim that land. That is their ultimate goal. They see this now as something that's more doable than ever, particularly with the backing of the United States, as the United States is bombing Yemen, Iraq, Syria, as the United States is now unleashing its own military superiority on the militias and so forth. That is, they're doing exactly, and killing commanders in some of the militias in Iraq. That's exactly what Israel is doing. So the plan is the same, is to keep dragging this out. Obviously not to call for a ceasefire, to drag out this action as long as possible until Israel is satisfied that it can put its long-term plan into place. And, the only thing, Saudi Arabia and all the rest of it around some sort of permanent establishing diplomatic relations. Again, just to cover, Saudi Arabia keep going back and forth because they're going to claim that land, right? And they don't need, eventually they'll get there. They already have undercover or secretive relationships with Saudi Arabia and most of the Arab governments in that region. And whether or not it's recognized fully, what's far more important at this stage is them seizing both West Bank, Gaza, other places that they consider to be so-called Greater Israel, and making that part of their larger landmass. And then in 10 years, after people don't remember the genocide, they'll get their diplomatic relationships with Saudi Arabia and other countries because, it will. Their plan is there will be no more. The resistance has something to say about that, of course, but that is their larger plan.
Is Netanyahu even trying to get the hostages back?
No,
it doesn't. And how is this playing in Israel? Right? I mean, there has been, I guess, some growing hostilities towards Netanyahu. I won't say growing because they've been pissed at Netanyahu since October 7th. They've been really upset with him. But I mean, taken to the streets, protesting against the way that he's handled what's going on in Gaza. I mean, if the Hamas has offered to give back all the Israeli hostages and Netanyahu rejects this, I don't know what that looks like for him politically on the domestic front, or does he even care?
I don't think he can. Oh, I'm sorry. You want to go, Jack?
No, you go ahead, Kamal.
I was going to say, I don't think he necessarily cares because even if he, because they are, a lot of the Hostage families are even more right than Netanyahu. I think Netanyahu is right, extremely right wing, but also a politician. I think there are others who are right wing and principally like crazy right wing in terms of their sort of greater Israel belief, and that includes a great deal of the population, including hostage families, which they've openly said, no food, no supplies, no water to Gaza until the so-called hostages are released. Right. So some of them are to the right of Netanyahu, which he probably appreciates or wants. So I don't think, I think if he wanted to get a deal for the hostages, again, the counter offer, because again, the Hamas offer was a counter offer to what was first proposed, is approximately a 45-day cessation of fighting, the release of the hostages. I think Jackie called it around 8,000 Palestinian prisoners. All that could be done because with the Israelis, they'll just go back and arrest those people 5 minutes later, as they did in the West Bank at the previous negotiation. They went back in and started arresting more people. They have that kind of military power over it. So it's not about striking a deal. It's more about what gets them closer to their ultimate final goal. And if the hostages have to die in order to get more land, they've been useful to the greater idea of Israel, right? I think Netanyahu is in trouble politically speaking, but I think he'll only be replaced by if he does lose any upcoming election, because he's going to be considered also the prime minister that allowed, or under his watch, Hamas was able to break their so-called security superiority. It would only be replaced by somebody even more right-wing than Netanyahu, like one of those really conservative people that he's coming up with. So that's what I think is, I don't think the hostages matter at all, except as bargaining chips for something that he wants to happen.
Yeah, I don't know how their succession structure is in the Knesset, but if Netanyahu does not win the next election, I mean, more than likely he probably won't. I'm not sure if he is eligible to. I don't know what if they have term limits. But if you think Netanyahu is bad, wait until somebody like Ben-Gvir gets into office. I mean, because this is Netanyahu is the devil. Gvir is the devil's grandfather. That man wants to openly just, there's no pretext of pretending to care about the human rights of Palestinians with these other people that remember Netanyahu knew were far right wing, and he made coalition with them anyway. So he knows what kind of people are in his coalition. And again, this is what Netanyahu wanted. So this is what he wanted. So he doesn't care. He doesn't care. The other people in parliament don't care about they don't care, because if they did, they wouldn't be setting up all these illegal settlements all over the place. They wouldn't be stealing other people's land if they really cared about the safety of their people. But settler colonists are not logical. They don't think like regular human beings because they're monsters. Basically, there's no such thing as an innocent settler.
It's a political project. It's like ultimately this is a political / religious project that its gains are greater Israel, right? That's the gains. And again, if there's sacrifices that need to be made in order for that to ultimately happen, then those folks will be sacrifices, and everybody will be sacrificed. And a lot of folks don't mind. Like, again, some of these settlers, even though they're there's some control over them, a lot of them are allowed to, let's say, do what they do because they know that's their thinking, that's their mechanism. They're ultra religious and ultra right around taking over the land. I mean, we've heard the stories, like they poisoned wells in the West Bank, destroyed farmland, taken over houses, and the IDF sits back, and then they may destroy one small settlement in order to give cover for West and the West media to go like, oh, we're trying to stop this and this is out of our control. but they know that the ideological rabid dogness of like this idea has taken hold, that these, you know, and we've all seen the videos, like they've called Palestinians their slaves and they're the masters and all that kind of stuff. These folks sincerely believe, as the Third Reich, as everyday Germans, right? That people talk about Hitler as an individual or the Nazis. Remember, there was vast support in Germany for the genocide of Jews who were German Jews in Germany. Vast support. Vast support here for the colonization of this land by the everyday people taking native land and the enslavement of Africans. Vast everyday support. So sometimes I don't like it when we say everybody's being tricked. It's like there are people who believe their interests are aligned with the powers that be because they share that ideology. They may not be in the upper ranks, but they share a similar purpose, and then they do things on the ground to help foster that. That's always been Israel, not just recently, always been Israel. The rapid ideological belief system that this is their promised land, that they belong here, that they somehow are created, a part of the land through their fictional ideas about what the Bible says. And they've moved that to like somehow having actual lineage, like these Europeans believing that they have actual lineage in the area of Palestine. This conceptual concept has taken hold. And again, the West believes it and or nurtures it and uses it because it serves their own purposes. Mm-hmm. And that's where we're at. And that's why there's a resistance. That's why there's an axis of resistance. That's why Hamas, the Hamas, even if it was in some ways nurtured by Israel in terms of not having the Palestinian Authority, Hamas is also an indigenous struggle and resistance movement that would have came about partly because of the acquiescence of the Palestinian Authority to the Israeli domination. And so people said, no, there needs to be more resistance. And it was based on their own ideological and religious belief systems. But it was fostered because it's a belief system that challenges the settler colonial nation of Israel. If they want the war to end, then they have to give Palestinians back their land. That's the only way the war ends. There's no other settlement that's going to happen.
Yep, I agree. And that's, I do, as you know, as much as it, I was just talking to Ricky Ryan, what's going on, the other day about this. And I do think about this every day. Like, how is this particular moment going to end? How is this going to end? And I know that's kind of, like maybe, I don't know how anyone would describe it, but I'm not gonna, sit here and lie and say that, I'm this big bad revolutionary and, I don't have these thoughts. I am grieved every day by the hundreds of thousands of people who have been murdered, injured, not just in Palestine, but in the Congo. All of the turmoil that's going on in the Sahel, the farmers pissed off in France. Like, capitalism and imperialism is still running around killing people. And this grieves me. So it's like, I really do wonder, like, I get up in the morning and I can't even turn the news on because I'm like, first of all, they're not even going to talk about it because, that's just what they do. There is no corporate media outlet in this country that is trustworthy. There hasn't been for a long time. But just seeing, like, I guess for me, it's like, how does one get away with this level of carnage in 2024? Right? Like, I cannot be the only person who is thinking, how the fuck is this happening now? Like, for decades, people were like, how did all these nice Germans let the Holocaust happen? And here we are sitting among a bunch of nice Germans watching the Holocaust, watching another genocide happen. And it's like, man, what the fuck? And I cannot be the only person who is like, who are these human being like people that don't care about genocide that I'm apparently surrounded by? And what the hell does that mean for me? You know what I mean?
there's so to your point, Jackie. I think about I'm one in that camp who self-reflects and raises this very question. And what I keep coming back to is that I don't think this level of violence could take place absent the parallel levels of pervasive narrative development, messaging, and capture that has gone on. Now, admittedly, they're struggling against that there's even cracks in that at this point. But the ability to make hundreds of millions of people around the world, if not more, disassociate from what's happening. For instance, Ali Abdunima on an Electronic Intifada this morning was talking about how even he and his crew are able to somehow at times block out what's happening because they're not living there. They can turn on something else. There's millions of other things fighting for our attention. And then on the back end of that, to your question, I'll show it here. This book that I read initially some years ago, let me just get the cover here, speaks to the question that I think you're getting to as it pertains to the Nazi Holocaust in particular. And it's called The Jewish Enemy, Nazi Propaganda During World War II and the Holocaust. And one of the reasons one of the more powerful points that this book made clear for me is that the amount of work leading up to the actual machines of the death camps, it was overt and it was everywhere. People would, from the early 30s on, people would be in bus kiosks or train stations and see posters saying the Jews are this, watch out for, like, it was a slow, almost creeping build that we've seen in the United States, to the extent we've paid attention, not only happened to Black people, indigenous people, Arabs, et cetera, and so forth, but specific to this issue, Palestinians, over the slow creep. This is that Edward Said work of Orientalism that prepares us so that even if we do catch a headline, and then I'll stop here. Literally on the way to school this morning, my oldest said, how much do you talk about Palestine in your classes? And I was a little offended. I was a little
by the question?
Yeah.
Why?
Because I was like, you should know better. It's all day, every day, baby girl. This is a constant. What you talking about? I said, right now I got 2 sections of Black studies, and all day the Black Africana studies or Black studies as a field only exists because of the Black liberation movement, and it has always consciously attached itself to Palestine. So that's one hook. And in my other class, it's the sociology of mass communication, propaganda. Duh. So it's like, turn on the news, good people. What frame is being put to it? We already watched Occupation of the Mind from Media Education Foundation, and so on the way to school, what I was saying, because my daughters were asking, so what is the reaction of your students? Because nobody talks about it in their school.
Wow.
There's almost like an unofficial censorship happening. So I was, and for us, it's kind of it's an all day routine. Not like we're lecturing at the kitchen table at breakfast, but it's like a constant discussion of occupation, genocide. These people got to go. So on the way to school, it was absolutely we talk about it, and the student reaction is often, unfortunately, Dr. Ball, you're the only one talking about it, and then damn, we don't hear about this version of it whenever we do hear it discussed. I don't know. So I said to them, and then when I dropped them off, I said, just always remember to ask yourself, how do you know what you know, and why do you like what you like? So when you hear something new, you're like, how much have I really studied this? And that's the approach. So yeah. So it's all of that to say, I think that we've been primed to both not be aware of what's happening despite what's going on, as crazy it is, and then to also rationalize it as, well, this is just how it is. The Palestinians deserve it. Israel has a right to defend. You know, it's over there. It's not us. It's them Arabs. They got nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
Right.
They're terrorists. So it's somewhere between Umar Johnson and Fox News that everybody's kind of stuck. And it's like, damn.
That's a sad state of affairs, man.
Yeah.
It is. I mean, it is.
And why you should support BPM.
That's right. Please do so, everybody. You can support us on Patreon, patreon.com/Black Power Media. Get you some BPM gear at blackpowermedia.org. Send us some Cash App support, $ Black Power Media, or just run us some super chats because that's what Kamal likes. Kamal likes to see that instant money pop up. So we got to make Kamak, satisfied out here with our production level, or he gonna get mad.
Yep.
It's not popping like it used to. It's not popping like it used to. That's all I'll say.
Hey, good brother Raj. Raj ran us 200 yesterday, gentlemen.
Raj been dropping.
Yes,
yeah,
Raj.
Raj been coming through on a number of shows lately.
Coming through. Yeah. Thank you, Raj. And the rest of y'all. Thank you, Infinite Content, for your everything, everybody.
Infinite does a lot. Infinite does a lot. Yeah.
Yes, he does.
Yeah.
So thank you all.
True.
And ZZ Lion, another tipping all-star, the all-star tippers. And then, Quaker anarchists and others who do as much immaterially as those do materially with the retweets and the posts and the comments. We need all that too. So
Quaker, I owe you an email back. I know that. We've been in dialogue. I know that.
Don't leave Quaker anarchists hanging.
You get a tweet for that. Yep.
So Kamal, I wanted to ask about something that Ricky brought up yesterday pertaining to the passage of a bill through the Georgia legislature, effectively banning bail bond funds.
We talked a little bit about it on Tuesday, but now that you brought it, it has now passed both the Senate and the House in Georgia. And so now it's going to Kemp's desk. So basically and effectively, they are trying to stop public bail bonds. And this goes, obviously the target of it is left-wing or political or movement bail bonds, but they can't write it like that. So it's a broad sweeping ban on public bail bonds. That includes bail bonds like, mama's funds that get mamas out on certain days or funds that get fathers out. All of that stuff is limited. And the only way now under this law, as per written, to get permission is for the sheriff's office in individual counties to basically approve for bail bonds funds to be allowed to bail people out. So they are effectively banning bail bonds in the state of Georgia. And again, once they do it here as a test ground, it's going to be taken up in other places. And as I stated before, bail bonds have a long history in movement activity. It's sometimes what allows us to organize. When you look at the civil rights movement, people who spent time locked up, part of the reason they were able to organize, particularly Black folks in the South, is that they knew that they had bail bonds to get them out. They did not have to be long-term in Southern segregationist jails and at the mercy of Southern segregationist sheriffs and potential torture and murder. So this is obviously something that's targeted towards movement. In fact, just this morning, I don't have real details on it yet, but it's our understanding that different SWAT teams have gone out to organizer houses again. And so I'm trying to get some more details on that as we speak. So the continued, and as I mentioned also, on Tuesday, the City Council of Atlanta passed an ordinance on how to count the signatures or verify the signatures for the resolution. And they slipped in. This was an ordinance that was given to them by movement players. And then the City Council slipped in a signature matching provision, and then they passed it. So the same signature matching provision that the Democratic Party sued when it was going to be applied to Stacey Abrams' camp, that same Democratic Party at the local level is endorsing it. So when it's applied to a referendum process. So that's an update. That's what's going on. I'm sure some of this, particularly the bail bonds thing, will get challenged in court, but we'll see what happens with it after that.
I mean, what more evidence do you need that both parties are the same when you've got the Republicans trying to outlaw bail bonds just to to keep movements from being able to bail our people out when they're being when they've been rounded up by the state. And then you've got the Democrats applying a already proven to be unreliable signature match provision. The Democrats impose that on the movement, but both parties aren't the same. They're not. Oh yeah. Okay.
Kamal, to your knowledge, like what legal grounds can this bill that has been passed by both chambers of the Georgia legislature, can this be challenged? Because isn't fundraising basically a First Amendment issue? Isn't that a freedom of expression issue? Because all I'm hearing is Citizens United, kind of like money is speech, right? In this country. So if this organization, these bail funds are prevented legally from raising, like, how does that, like, or these bail funds got to convert themselves into super PACs, into political action committees, so they can raise money unencumbered under Citizens United, right? Like, I'm curious what the legal challenges to this are going to be, because I hope it will get challenged.
I think you named it. I think there's First Amendment and due process rights for people to be able to express their political views and to have structures behind them that says, I've not been shown guilty of anything, right? I've been arrested and charged with something. I have a right to bail and a right to figure out how to pay bail. Why does the state get to interfere with that? That's an abuse of my speech. And they also gave more charges in that same bill in which you had to put up cash bond or put up a bond, sort of as bondable offenses, so that people couldn't be released on their own recognizance. So they've even stretched, and most of those are laws that have to do with protesting, right? Things resisting, so-called resisting arrest, obstruction of government administration, those kind of things. They've also made into things that you're going to need bail for, like the judge doesn't have any discretion, right? So this is an attack on individual freedoms. This is an attack on people's abilities to protest. And I think it is a First Amendment challenge. Again, what happens, where it goes, which courts decide, how far it goes. This will also be something that will take years. So even in the meantime, unless some judge gives an embargo, but gives an order to stop it in its tracks, this will be years of litigation. None of this stuff happens right away, right? So this will the most like overwhelm. Almost sure the Republican governor, thank you, Renee, thank you for being a good lawyer, an injunction against it. The Republican governor will surely sign this bill, make this law, and then the question becomes the court battle. What will ensue in terms of the court battle? Will an injunction be given or not, as they create the mechanisms to basically stop all bail funds in Georgia from bailing people out?
So what are the workarounds? Like who's the bail fund in Virginia or DC or Florida or whatever? Like, where should we redirect off? I know you may not have this answer right now, but I'm sure that's
that'll be the strategy,
right?
Yeah. Well, we'll have to see whether or not. I mean, this goes. My assumption. I've not read the bill, so whether or not this means out-of-state bail bonds cannot come into Georgia and do this. Whether or not this is strictly about bail bonds in Georgia, my assumption is it's probably wider than that. Like, they won't leave that kind of loophole that says, oh, you can get the money from Massachusetts, you just can't get it from a Georgia-based bail bond. And so, and again, they put it, no bail bonds will be able to operate in Georgia, or bail funds, I should say, unless it gets permission from the sheriff in the county that the person has been incarcerated in. So the sheriffs at this stage will then get to make the decisions on whether or not a bail fund can operate in the county as written as of now.
I mean,
a chorus of exasperated sighs. Yeah.
And it's like, and this is, I just saw this. So this actually is perfect timing, because not that this is a good thing, but that this happened at the perfect time where we are living in a McCarthyist period, a Red Scare period. this isn't new. This is what people kind of get wrong. That it's like when they think about what's going on in response to the Cop City movement, the Stop Cop City movement in Atlanta and in wider Georgia, people think, oh, that's just Georgia. It's no, this is across the country. This is when these Republican legislatures enabled by Democrats, when it comes to criminalizing protest and dissent from the left, the Democrats are in on it too. That this is not just something that is happening in Georgia because Georgia is uniquely evil. No, this is happening all across the country. And these kinds of laws have been passed since 2020, since after the uprising in 2020 across the country, around the world, when we saw Democrats, a lot of these laws, not as overtly fascist as this one, but really curtailing people's right to protest, right to assemble. Bail funds, I don't think have been attempted to be outlawed before, but there have been a lot of pieces of legislation introduced and passed in response to the massive protests in 2020. And those pieces of legislation were passed in Democratic-run states by Democratic legislatures and in Republican-run states with the help of the votes of Democrats in those legislatures. So, but what Ricky was saying about her interview last night with Dr. CBS, Sharice Burden-Stelly, if y'all have not read Black Scare, Red Scare by Dr. Sharice Burden-Stelly, Dr. CBS, to understand the Black Scare, the Red Scare moment we are still in, Black Scare, Red Scare, and the McCarthyism. McCarthyism is when the state comes after you legally with laws, throws you in prison, prosecutes you, imprisons you for these fictitious crimes that the state makes up. This is McCarthyism. It's not the new McCarthyism, right? It's not some newly concepted thing. No, this is the same McCarthyism from the McCarthy era and before. And this is a history we have to understand so we can stop thinking that any of this is new. It's not. This is the same battle that we fought. So please, we have to understand that this is not some new and unique thing. This is how the system operates.
Yeah, I say it's a continued song and dance, or a continued dance, right, in the sense of how do they best operate to control power, to levy their power, to control organizers, activists, movements, other things that they think somehow either are taking power from them, whether or not they have perceived enemies or not. And it's still, like, it still works in this country. It still works to be anti-Black, anti-Asian, anti-immigrant, anti-brown, anti-Arab. It all still works to be anti-communist, anti-left, all of that still works. Labeling people as terrorists. All of those things are tried and true mechanisms that still work because we are in a right-wing country of settler colonialists who think they have a right to take this land and to be leaders of this land and to have power. And they'll, and again, they'll eat their own, right? They don't mind fighting. They just don't mind because they have levers of power, which those of us on the left do not have, to be honest, right? And so they can unleash a police state on organizers and activists when our only fight back usually is trying to have some mass demonstration or mass march. We don't have the use of violence, particularly in this country. That is all controlled by the state, right? And we need to be honest about that, right? That's currently the situation that we're in. And so when they have that, they can sit up there in their seats and pass these legislative dictates, which are meant to knock the legs out of organizing and activists. But I think what we've also proven over and over again, the movement don't stop, right? It'll take different forms. People will be arrested. People will be killed. But the movement will keep on going because people will not sit around and allow themselves to be brutalized, suppressed, repressed, oppressed and not fight back. The movement will continue, and people will continue to figure out ways to organize, because our very lives depend on the fact that we do this, right? And so even when things look dim and we see the enemy is using its tools and tactics, it is up to us to figure out new tools and tactics to continue to challenge the state, to challenge propaganda out there that's been used to help capitalists continue to gain resources, used to commit genocide. We have to continue to fight back, and I think we do, right? We have ups and downs, but we continue to fight back.
All right, right on. Perfect way to wrap up the remix week. We got, I don't know if Ear Doctor is going to end this by saying we're coming back as if this was a break, or if this is actually meant to be the concluding mix. So if it says we'll be back, just accept that as we'll be back on Tuesday. And please come back for Earn Your Liberation tomorrow, Saturdays with Renee on Saturday, Sundays with the Ear Doctor on Sunday. Jackie, Kim, are you all, what's happening?
Yep. Darker Than Blue tomorrow evening at 5 p.m. Hopefully I will have all of the audio issues fixed. And tomorrow we're having Ajamu Baraka as our guest, and we're doing the WPFW pledge drive where you can call in or Cash App WPFW to throw some bucks our way to help us on the show meet our goal, which is $500. We have a $500 goal, and to keep WPFW on the air in general. So I'll drop all that information for you tomorrow, so you can call in, Cash App, do whatever. Just give us money.
PFW will take your money any way. Any way you want to offer it.
And they need it too.
What is it? 4 times a year now? Yeah.
They're sounding great. I mean, let me credit PFW. They are sounding fantastic. Like the programming, the actual sound quality of the broadcast, they are sounding really, really good. And y'all have the best show title. I think I love the title of the show, Darker Than Blue. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
We had a little incident with my daughters and some schoolmates around colorism. And I literally made us as a family listen to that song. We listened to Curtis Mayfield, We People Who Are Darker Than Blue. And I had to remind her of this particular part where he says, Hi, yellow girl.
Can't you tell? You're just the surface of a dark, deep well.
Yes. Everybody can't be like me and Jackie.
Woo! I'm sorry. I get excited about that song because Curtis has a mean harp in that song, y'all.
Curtis.
Yeah, he does.
So much in the song. That joint is
like,
so
what?
mean. Yes.
And then he picks it up with the funk I mean, Curtis, man,
And then it's like, wait.
Yeah.
There's more.
Curtis
another Mama's Biscuits.
Another Mama's Biscuits classic.
Oh, we not that one, but we did a number of Curtis tracks. We was We're a Winner was one of our first ones.
Oh yeah.
We rocked that joint. We're a winner. And don't let anybody say that you can't make it because of people mind in your way. Yeah. So yeah, right on. Shout out to you all for that great show and title, and PFW and everybody support that. Daruba still needs our support, by the way, folks. I heard from him yesterday. $sign Daruba. If you can Cash App him, PayPal him at daruba@gmail.com. A lot of surgeries, travel, medicine, painkillers. So we gotta keep that in the mix too, pun intended.
Absolutely.
And Kim, did you say what you're doing next?
Friday, it is Burn It Down with Kim Brown as usual. I want to talk about. There's been a couple of police murders in my area that have not really gotten a lot of attention. A brother who was in DC experiencing a mental health crisis was there with a cop who was trained in mental health crisis, and he ended up shooting him because the brother was charging him with a tire pressure gauge in his. Ridiculous. So I want to lift up these people's names that have happened, because the pigs are still killing us out here, y'all. I mean, it may not make the breaking news at 6, or may not be the headline on the Washington Post, but it's definitely still happening. We cannot forget our folks that are being taken by the state.
All right, play that outro. Almost outro.
Yep.
All right, here we go. Peace. If you want to fight for it, like Fred used to say, catch you next time here throughout the BPM platform. Peace, everybody.